to yet another edition of the Phil Taylor Jones Show. Today our focus is going to be something that we've been keeping an eye on over the past, since Labor Day actually. And it has to do with the Sioux Indians and their fight to keep this pipeline, Dakota pipeline, from going through their sacred land and possibly endangering their water supply, which is held so sacred by us humans and especially by the Sioux Indians. My name is Phil Taylor Jones and I'm your host. And let's get out on the Whitestone Hill Reservation now and see what's going on. You know, when I think back to people that love this land, I find no sincerer, more heartfelt people than the American Indian, whether it be Sioux, Algonquin, Cherokee, Mohican, you name it. There's so many different tribes that truly love this land. You know, I think back to the time of the late 60s, early 70s. Iron Eyes Cody would look out upon the land, and then he'd turn around and there was a tear because the land had been polluted. You see dead fish and garbage washing up on the shores, and there he was, this majestic Indian face with a tear. That's how much these people cherish this land. It's sacred to them. They have a spiritual, heartfelt, soulful dedication to this land that we call America. After all, they were here when we all got here. They look at a bear and they don't see a terror. They don't see something to be loathed or killed. They look at the bear as their brother. They look at the mountains as gods. They look at the streams and the rivers and the different tributaries as something to be cherished and worshipped in a way, because it provides so much. It provides our very lives. How long can you go without food? Maybe 3 weeks, maybe a little longer than that. There are people that have fasted that's shown that you can go quite a number of days, maybe even a month or so without food. But how long can you survive without water? Maybe 3-4 days. Water is just that important. And here we go with greedy people wanting to put in a pipeline to carry oil and endanger hundreds, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of lives by messing up their water. And we know that this does happen. Look at what BP did down in the Gulf of Mexico. Excuse me, I went a little too far. Look at Exxon Valdez and the problems that they caused that are still trying to be cleaned up after all these years. It has a definite impact on the ecosystem. And you wonder why they're fighting. Let me just give you a little background history on Whitestone Hill. You know, Labor Day was an anniversary of that massacre that took place so many years ago in 1863. Let me just get you up to speed here. The massacre of Whitestone Hill was the culmination of the 1863 operations against the Sioux Indians in Dakota Territory. Brigadier General Alfred Sully attacked a village September 3rd through 5th, 1863. The Indians in the village included Yanktonai, Santee, and Teton Lakota Sioux. Sully killed, wounded, or captured 300 to 400 Sioux, including women and children, at a cost of about 60 casualties. Sully would continue the conflict with another campaign in 1864. Sully's expedition against the Sioux in Dakota Territory. Over the past few weeks, thousands of Native Americans representing tribes from all over the country, have traveled to this central North Dakota reservation to camp in a nearby meadow and show solidarity with a tribe they think is once again receiving a raw deal at the hands of commercial interests and the United States government. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the Sioux in this North Dakota territory, they have been pushed around like so many of our American Indian tribes. These proud people on their land that they hold so sacred and that they work and build up by the sweat of their brow and with their hands, by the United States government and by the white man, they have been deprived. On this little plantation or a little bit of land they had, they've been moved up the riverbank and they've moved down the riverbank. They've been moved across the river. They've been moved down the river yet again because they wanted to build a dam to the north. Then they were moved up to the north because they wanted to build a dam to the south. They have lost all what they worked so hard for. They had their own little infrastructure, financial infrastructure. They had their little stores and gas stations and everything that they need to sustain some kind of life of dignity. And yet, through the army, through the white man, the pale face, they've been screwed over so many times. It's terrible what we can do to beat the people that are indigenous to this country. It is shameful. And now, yet again, without even asking them, without even considering them, the United States and the Army, Corps of Engineers, and private security are pushing these innocent people around. It is disgusting. It is terrible that in 2016, all the way up from the 1800s, that these people have had to go through adverse conditions and to be pushed around on their own land. And now when they make a little noise about it, they're thought to be the victims. It's disgusting. Frank White Bull, a member of the Standing Rock Sioux Tribal Council, was overcome with emotion as he looked out over the ocean of brightly colored teepees and tents that have popped up on this impromptu 80-acre campground. He said, "You think no one is going to help, but the people have shown us that they're here to help us. We made our stance, and the Indian National heard us, or the Indian Nation, heard us." I really get overcome with emotion at this. Whoa. It's making us whole. It's making us Waene Oyote, or one nation. We are not alone. At issue for the tribes is a 1,172-mile Dakota Access Pipeline, or DAPL, which runs through North and South Dakota, Iowa, and Illinois, and it has a capacity to transport more than 500,000 barrels of oil per day. The $3.8 billion pipeline now under construction was approved by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to cross under the Missouri River a mile north of the reservation. That river is the source of water for the reservation's 8,000 residents. Any leak, tribal leaders argue would cause immediate and irreparable harm. And tribal leaders point to what they consider a double standard, saying that the pipeline was originally going to cross the Missouri north of Bismarck, the state capital, but was rerouted because of powerful opposition that did not want a threat to their water supply there. So they pick on these Indian people, our indigenous people, and say, well, yeah, let them suffer. What a bunch of bastards. The tribe says it also is frightening the pipeline's path because even though it does not cross the reservation, it transverses sacred territory taken away from the tribe in treaties that have been forced upon it over the last 150 years. These people have been going through heartache and strife at the hands of greedy people, and it's got to stop. Now, there's a fighter. She has been on that land since, or at least her ancestors, her people have been on that land in Dakota since the 1800s. Her name is LaDonna Brave Bull Allard, and she's from the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, and she has lived in Fort Yates, North Dakota for all her life. She knows that land like the back of her hand, and it's hurting her. I saw her yesterday on telly on a program called Democracy Now!, and we will provide a link because you've got to see her. I can talk about her, but the way this kind-hearted soul talks about the land and talks about its people, her ancestors, and the suffering at the hands of greedy idiots all the way back to the 1800s will just rip your heart out. More importantly, when I heard of Jill Stein and Ajamu Baraka going down there and lending their hearts as well as their hands to this cause, it only reaffirmed my certainty that these are the kinds of people we need to run our country. As I said in so many other shows, these two people feel for the people they want to represent. They feel it. They feel it in their hearts. They feel it in the deepest bowels of their guts, and they put that into action. So Jill Stein, she took a spray paint can, and she sprayed on there, "I approve this message." And people now are lambasting her. They're taking a position or a side against her. For what? This woman has proven that she has the guts, the grit, and the ambition to stand not behind those that need her, but with them, and take a positive lead to show them that she is indeed with them. The same can be said of Ajamu Baraka. Now you think about that thing. These private security people came out with pepper spray, mace, and vicious dogs. And they let the dogs loose on the people, biting and ripping the flesh. Because these people want to protect their sacred land and their water. Certainly brung up shades of what went on with the blacks down in the southern part of our country, letting loose the dogs because of wanting to get rid of human rights. And what's more of a human right than to give someone a fresh, clean glass of water, or provide a source where they can get millions of glasses of water? Jill Stein and Ajamu Baraka are at the forefront of fighting for constitutional and human rights because they care. And they put out a warrant for their arrest. Bastards. Why don't they put out an arrest for the bastards who are wanting to run this potentially dangerous situation through the land and through the water supply of innocent people who don't want anything more than just to live in peace? Haven't you screwed them over for all of these centuries? And even today, in this technologically advanced nation we live in, our most precious and prized indigenous people can't even have a little peace because of greed with a healthy dose of stupidity. Can't you run your pipeline through somewhere that is not inhabited? Through somewhere that there is no threat to our waterways, our tributaries? No, you can't do it because you're greedy as hell. Thank goodness there are people in this world like Jill Stein and Ajamu Baraka. What a sad day it will be if they don't make it into the White House and you get some idiot charlatans in there like Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. They don't care. They're of this establishment. They're of this greed, this sick disease that has covered our land. If anything happens to those people, those Sioux Indians, it's on the United States' hands, just like it always has been. You run people off their own land and then you continue to mistreat them, as I said before. And I'll double down on it. Some of these American people are some of the most frightening ghouls I've ever known. How can you treat people like that? Women and children and men trying to make a living, been stripped of everything, including their lives. And then you come back here in 2016 and you strip them of their dignity. You strip them of their right to have fresh, clean drinking water. You strip them of their sacred burial grounds. You strip them of the American life. The American dream that they too so rightly deserve, and you deprive them of it. And then you taunt your little stupid, idiotic phrase that all lives matter. Prove it. Step up off their land. Take your pipes with you, and your bulldozers, and your dogs, and your mace, and your pepper spray, and get the hell off their land. Prove that all lives matter. But you can't, can you? Because you're too damn greedy. And Jill Stein doesn't feel that way, neither does Ajamu Baraka. They went down there and fought. And if you law enforcement idiots down there continue to harass them and to say that they broke laws, then you're worthless. Oh, and I know some, oh, well, they actually broke the law. They committed a misdemeanor. They trespassed. Well, look at what Hillary Clinton has done. Look at what Donald Trump has done. These two charlatans have done more, much more than the little spray painting of an iron bulldozer that with about maybe 4 or 5 scoops of dirt, the paint will come off. As it did when they originally painted the damn thing. Guts. That's what these two wonderful people showed. They went down there specifically to work with the Sioux Indians and the people on that reservation. That's what a politician does. That's what a person does who cares about the people that they're representing. They don't sit on their butt somewhere in a tower and look down and go, oh, that's too bad. Or go to their foundations and say, no, they get out there and rub shoulders and put their hands in the dirt, pick up a sign, and lead the charge. Our American Indians have been hurting for far too long, just like our veterans have been hurting for far too long, just like our black people have been hurting for far too long. You're too damn greedy. It just goes to show that you'll step on anybody, you'll disrupt anybody else's life, you'll do whatever you have to do to push your dollar amount. 500,000 barrels a day adds up to how much money per month, per year, per decade? Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. The bottom line, the bottom line. That's all you bloody think about. At the hands of innocent people, how many more will you kill? How many more will you deprive of their human rights, you greedy bastards? It is my sincere hope that we would have a Jill Stein, Ajamu Baraka ticket, presidency, to help us, to be there for us, not just in lip service, but to actually be there in action. No matter what the outcome, but to be there in action. While Donald Trump is talking about how great Putin is, Jill Stein and Ajamu Baraka are down there showing how important the Sioux Indians are to us. Now, which one would you hold more dear? I would look to Stein Baraka for that. You've got to wake up, folks. You need to see the actions of those who really care, who have a heart, a mind, and a will to be there and to do what's right by other people. See, sometimes there's the legal aspect of things, and sometimes there's a right aspect of things. The right aspect of things are those human rights that are there for everybody in this country. Inalienable rights. In the pursuit of happiness. The pursuit of a decent drink of water. Over oil. That's why we're in such a hell of a mess now. Fighting these dumb wars over oil. Over money, 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 money. At what point is money more important than a human life? At all points in this greedy country. You've shown it time and time again. Exec, you got anything?
A lot of sadness, a lot of disdain for the government, a lot of anger. You know, it's uncanny what they're doing, and I don't mean that that's not normal by saying uncanny, because you can expect stupid stuff that hurts people from the government all the time, but what exactly they're doing is uncanny. It's uprooting people out of their own community that they've known for hundreds and hundreds of years is beyond anything. I can't even come up with the right words. This too, you know, affects me deeply. I also have a great respect for the Indians. They are the original American. They were here first before anyone else. And they do have a sincere and great respect for the land.
Deep.
For the water, for the animals, for nature. They know what a blessing it is to have those things there to help them survive. They learn how to survive without fast food, without restaurants. They learn that's even more Americanized than anything. You know, originally you didn't have no restaurants and no buildings. You had to survive on what the land gave you. And so I have a lot of respect and kudos to them, you know, for fighting the good fight that they are doing. You know, it's ridiculous. And for these idiots that say, well, how dare you say anything about Clinton when this Jill Stein has actually committed a crime? Don't BS me like that, because Clinton actually did commit a crime. Just because she got away with it does not mean, and I reiterate from other previous shows, that she didn't do the crime. There are some people that get away with crimes that actually committed them. And then on the other side of the ticket, in the supposed justice, there are people that committed the crimes that get away with it. So don't come to me telling me that's hypocritical and stuff because Clinton actually didn't do anything and Jill Stein did, because that doesn't even compare to the murders that Clinton, you know, had done, and the email stuff and everything else, compared to something, as you alluded to, is a cosmetical thing. You can just, you know, get some special chemicals and get that off. She didn't break the windows. She didn't dent it. Hardly could as a little woman. that she is. I mean, no disrespect to her, so it's not something that's irreparable, or at least would cost that much money, maybe $5-10 for a special bottle of spray paint to get it off. So don't say that kind of crap. That's ridiculous. She's actually, fighting for indigenous people's rights, and what is, Trump and Clinton doing? Not a damn thing. They're not even there. Not supporting these people. They could have done it in the other place, and they could have found another place entirely that didn't affect anybody, but they're just more concerned about doing it quick. Money, money, money. It's really ridiculous to treat people like this. This is supposed to be the federal government. It's supposed to look out for its people, and they can't even do that. So when you come to the polls very soon, I hope that all of you that do see Jill Stein's name in the polls, which is about 41 states, I'm not sure if there's more now, I haven't checked it recently, but it would be very nice for everyone to go for Jill Stein, and to vote for Jill Stein does not, make the focus not on another candidate, and let the opposite one in there. A vote for her is just a vote for her, plain and simple. But she, actually cares about other people and does things for other people, as you alluded to, and it's just ridiculous that you have to be bothered with these two yokels and basically have it forced down your throat that that's all there is available. As I said one time on the stream of Donald Trump's speech, that this the only two candidates. When they said it and they thought I was going for Clinton because I said something against Trump, I said no, wrong again. There is a third choice, and the whole nation just doesn't really know about it. I just wanted to check really quick. We're now, since last time we went up by one state from 40 to 41, or was it 39 to 41? Now we have 44 states. That's about like 97% of the states.
Well, this is good.
Which is very good. And as far as the other aspect goes for the petitions for, let's see, sorry for a little bit of silence here. I'm trying to look up some things. My apologies. The petition for the, where did it go? Ballot access. I think they removed it. There used to be a section in here that was for the petitions to vote, I believe.
Or was that for the debate stage?
The debate, I got voteusa.gov. It doesn't seem to be here. It's in the involved section. Get involved, volunteer, ballot access, jobs, flyers and tools, register to vote, and campus organizing. It seems to be gone, maybe because of what Trump is proposing, that he won't go to the debate unless the independents are there. I'm not too sure.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll get it to you as soon as we find out what happened here.
Yeah, so either way, it's a great thing that those two are doing for these indigenous folks, because how can you have a strong voice if no one else is fighting for you but yourself, And we need someone that's out there to fight for Americans' rights for once, and not Americans' rich upper class to get money, So we need to get Jill on the stage. The American stage is known as the White House. And that's all there is to it, plain and simple.
The thing that I find so infuriating is Jill with a little spray paint can saying, I approve this message. And the media is all over it like a cheap suit. When all of this stuff is going on with Clinton and Trump, and you with Trump, they're after him anyway, but with Clinton, you barely hear of anything. And this woman has committed many more heinous crimes than putting a little spray paint can into action. Folks, it just shows that if there's something right to be had in this country, the news media and these other idiots like Soros, that wrinkle-faced creep that looks worse than Grandpa Munster on the TV show The Munsters, will do anything to keep a good candidate down. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And we should really start thinking here. What's really going on? Who is the true candidate? Clinton wouldn't be down there with the Sioux because she's in bed with the pipeline people. And the same with Trump. The rich, for the rich, of the rich, always the rich. I think the exec has got something good for us.
Very good.
What do you got?
The signatures last we checked was, I believe, at 95,600 something. Well, in that last time we had a show that has skyrocketed up to 99,441 signatures. So we basically need about 620, if I did my math right. I just did it on the fly. That's very good.
You heard the exec, 99 and some thousand out of 100,000. Get out there. You're doing a good job. We applaud you. Get out there and let's get this thing over the top, because remember, not only are we dealing with that, but we're still dealing with the fact that these crooked idiots in this election board or the debates board or whatever it is, it escapes my mind. They're still proposing that 15% at the polls before you can be qualified to hit the debate stage. We still got to think about that. So, let's get out there and ring the chimes and hope that this thing that Trump is proposing will come to fruition. We need to have Jill on that debate stage to show to the public, to the United States public, what she is all about. All those who haven't seen this thus far. This could be a good thing that she got out in the limelight like that, because it proves beyond a shadow of doubt that this lady has a heart of a lion. Jill Stein and Ajamu Baraka, they have hearts of lions. And it shows in what they do. And this isn't something that they've just done because they're running for president and vice. This has been them all along. They have been there all along. They have been there fighting for human rights, for constitutional rights, for the greening of our world, the cleanup of our environment. They have been there all the time, not just when it's expeditious for them to do so. So again, before closing out the show, I think the exec might have another tidbit.
Boy, did I do my math wrong. We only need 559 more signatures. Come on, people, we can do this.
559 puts us over the top. And let's go beyond that. Let's make it 5,059. Puts us way over the top. Again, we're going to have that link to that Democracy Now! Program so that you can see LaDonna, Brave Bull Allard, in all her glory, and I would urge you to take a look at this. It's about a 25 to 28 minute piece, and you'll be glad you did, because this lady is just wonderful. She goes on to say that the Sioux Indians have fought for this country. They love this land, and they proved it even in wars. They have some of the most prestigious medals honoring their war efforts from World War I to the latest effort. They have been there for America. And now America needs to be there for them, because we've been absent from our American Indians' lives in so many ways. It's time to give back to this wonderful and benevolent, loving people and spiritual custodians, soulful custodians of this land. We thank you so much for joining us for this edition of the Phil Taylor Jones Show. And as we say, so many times, try to keep a smile on your face, because that smile defeats the frowns of all kinds of deviltry. Keep that smile on your face. In this la-la-loo world of craziness, try to maintain an air of sanity, because Lord knows it's easy to lose it. Try to keep yourself safe, and dump the hate and increase the peace. Join us again for the next edition of the Phil Taylor Jones Show. Bye-bye.